I'm your friend, Dr. Charles Apoki. I have been dwelling on importance, relevance, and significance. I was watching the burial of the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth, on TV, and I tried to understand human behavior. I saw people line the streets. People stood at attention as security guards and fainted. I saw the way the coffin was carried up and down from Scotland. I did not sit down to really watch the whole ceremonies. Anytime I came upstairs from the school and I was resting or whatever, I just watched because I studied television. I found out that there is something the elite class know that the publicans they don't know, or the talakawans don't know. A lot of activities that people do are done to capture your mind, to intimidate you, to enslave you, to make you loyal to them and lose your identity. Inside that coffin was just an ordinary dead old woman, 96-year-old woman, dead person. They did not show whatever the coffin was made of. It was just covered with a flag or a cloth. It was just a symbolism. All the fanfare, all the activities, everything. I was looking at the clothes the guards wore, the helmets they wore, the guns they carried. It's all about intimidation to prove superiority, that they are not mere mortals. I've realized that the same destiny befalls both man and animals. But those activities that befall us, we try to make them so special and create class and distinction to separate us from animals. Childbirth. It is true that you need good health care to reduce maternal morbidity and mortality. But the truth of the matter, pigs can give birth to 12, 10, 14 children, no midwife attending. An elephant will get pregnant for 22 months, deliver, the baby will fall from a height of about 5 feet, no death. Kick that thing. Crocodiles, their eggs hatch, dogs deliver, mad people deliver. But we want to add a distinction to it as human beings to separate one class from the other. Animals die. They don't conduct funerals the way we do. They don't have prize of coffins. They don't have a guest list that will attend. We die, we decay, turn to manure. If you have spiritual belief, you either go to hell or you go to God's prepared place. There's no distinction between king or queen, royalty or publican. But we will do it in such a way as to intimidate your neighbor. My daughter married recently, and my wife tied a wrapper. The weight of that wrapper was like a bulletproof vest. It was like Saul's armor that Joseph wore. I mean, David wore. So heavy, very expensive. The beads alone, it was to create a distinction. Oh, Dr. Apoki's wife wore expensive material. But the woman was complaining. She said, this thing is too heavy. I can't walk with it. And she had to carry a second dress that she would wear when we get to the reception. Me, I just wore the shirt they sold for me. I didn't tie any wrapper. I wore a trouser, and I've worn that dress to go and preach. We complicate simple things. Animals don't do wedding. An eagle does not do wedding, but he remains married to one eagle for 30-something years. They remain faithful. We can do all the big ceremonies. Everything is done to create class, create distinction, to intimidate the other person. They wanted to do decoration of face for how much? My daughter's husband told her that when I saw you, your face was not painted. And I fell in love with you without a painted face. Why they paint it today? For the amount they quoted. You know, if the queen were to be a Nigerian monarch that was to be buried, some overzealous children, they will have opened the coffin to show that it is air conditioned, to show that there was a fan inside or something blowing the queen even as a dead person. They will have shown us shown her nostrils with a special cotton wool. The woman is dead. She is dead. Whether she's a queen or not, she's dead. She's just a cadaver. We like to intimidate people. Yesterday, I went to extract my tooth. Throughout the night, I couldn't sleep. Whether I'm Dr. Apoki or not, whether I'm guest preacher, whether I'm an anointed man, I couldn't sleep. Only one tooth aching me. The thing entered my eye, entered my ear. My legs, I don't know how tooth is related to leg. When I went there, they told me to lie down on the dental chair. They yanked the thing off. Tooth is tooth, whether it belongs to Dr. Apoki or it belongs to Mr. Johnson or whether the person is anointed, whether it's on. We know how to intimidate each other. That brings me to the African mentality. The African has been conclusively intimidated into stupidity. PDP governors wanted to have a meeting. I don't know what they were discussing. They went to London. So you mean that there are no hotels in Nigeria? The Obudu cattle ranch is not there for you to hold a meeting. There is no place where you can hold a meeting in Nigeria. You must go to London. Is it that you wanted to carry some money to London, or there are some of your brothers who will not get visa, or if they go on their own, so you wanted to smuggle them along with you as part of your entourage? Why go to hold a meeting in London? They've been going there to hold series of meetings. So how many British people come to Nigeria to hold meetings? How many Americans come to Nigeria to hold meetings? We have the brain of the black man. We've gained independence from British rule, whatever rule, French rule, but our minds are still colonized. Are still colonized. If I don't know to tie, wear a coat, I'm not a gentleman. Who told you you're a gentleman by wearing coat and not in tie? You still steal government money. You're a thief. You're a thief, whether you wear coat or not. And then, I don't know what happened. Our presidents left all the challenges we had. Challenges we have in Nigeria, we have in Kenya. In fact, Kenya, there is a tribe in Kenya that is protesting that they should return the head of their king. The British beheaded one man in Kenya who opposed the construction of the railway from Mombasa to Lake Victoria. They beheaded him and carried his head away. Same thing France did to the first leader of Haiti. They beheaded That man carried his head to France. No person know where they buried him. And made Haiti to pay reparations for years. Same thing wicked France did in Guinea. The Guinea that shares boundary with Sierra Leone. They blocked all the sewage system and whatever that they constructed there with concrete because maybe those people didn't allow them to. They fought for independence. These people were idolized despite their technological advancement, despite whatever. They have a very, very selfish attitude to life, a supremacist approach to life that perpetually they see the black man as less than them. Forget any nice thing, forget the religion they brought to us, forget it, bust it, man. I'm a pastor, I'm a Christian, but I understand some of the intricacies of how religion was used to colonize the mind of the black man. You can see it when they say when you dress as a bishop, you wear all that junk on your body in this hot climate that you're a bishop. You wear up to 13 pieces of clothing that you're a bishop in this very tropical climate. They wore it in their own place because of cold. Do you even understand why they wore it? Same thing you see in our judiciary. They must dress in a certain way. Our lawyers, legal system, wear one thing on their head in this hot environment. When will we free ourselves from mental slavery? Our presidents who drive around with convoys and flog people and drive people out of the highway, those lousy fellows who, if you don't move on, they block streets in Lagos, Nairobi, Dar es Salaam, in everywhere, all over Africa. They went there. They carried them like school children inside a bus. And they were so happy, they were grinning inside buses. Those people that intimidate us here, they carried them inside bus. They were so excited. Must you go for the Queen's burial? Can't you stay in your country and solve the multiplicity of problems that we have? Can't you stay in your country and plan? Look at South Korea. South Korea was, the GDP of Nigeria was twice that of South Korea a few years back. You think their president will be treated the way our presidents were treated? I don't understand the mindset. One of the things I learned early in life is to cultivate self-respect. I had some rich men in our church then, at Aba. I was the men's fellowship leader, and I was the one leading them. I made sure I did not present myself cheaply to them. Because if I did, they won't respect me. I was not in their houses. I was not running up and down with them. I learned to respect myself. No person will value you if you keep making yourself look like a cheap commodity. If I finish preaching in churches, I don't call people. Never. I respect myself. If a big man dies in my area, unless I have a special role to play, I don't go. To do what? To come and tell stories of how they buried a dead man? And me, I detest burials. The flamboyance, I detest the flamboyance in burials. You don't invite me for a ceremony, I won't come. Even if you invite me and I don't have a significant role to play, most times I don't come. I will look for something else to do with my life that will bring significance to my life. One black man was shown trying to shake Prince Charles, King Charles. The man tactfully evaded him and didn't shake him. What did you go and find there? You want to shake King Charles? Who are you? If Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala stretches her hand, King Charles will rush it. If Adedeji or the African Development Bank man stretches his hand, we'll rush it. If one prominent Nigerian who has excelled in life stretches his hand, we'll rush it. But you, whether you are a terrorist or a potential assassin, he didn't know. And what are you doing? If you shake King Charles, what does he give to you? Food? You see, when I started ministry, I had people I admired. I had people who prayed for me. But I don't run from one big man. I did never one big man of God to the other that submitting to. Submit to who? It didn't say submit yourself therefore to one big man of God. It says submit yourself therefore to God. Resist the devil and he will flee from you. Submit yourself to God. There is a way you develop yourself. There is a way you develop yourself. You develop your businesses. Develop whatever that is associated with you. They will call for you. They will call for you. Don't develop yourself. There's the way these African presidents will develop themselves, develop their countries. This King Charles will want to come and visit that country. And then you will wait for him. It's not that you will run to the UK, maybe because you are looking for foreign aid. It's because you are stupidly managing your economies. That's why you are running for foreign aid. I've learned to respect myself. I'm going to submit to this person, submit to this archbishop, submit to this person. No. I've never done that. I've submitted myself to God. So I'm not submitting so that I can preach in his big church. No. This telephone here, these videos I'm doing, is bigger than some of the biggest cathedrals in this country. With thousands of people viewing and sharing my posts. And they are sharing and viewing my post and sharing because I developed my content. Today I spoke on radio on living a significant life. Nearly 3 million listeners in the whole of the coverage areas of that radio station. Listen to me. It's bigger than any church. There is this stupidity in the mind of man to always look for somebody to worship, a fellow human being to worship, or something to worship. Everything that was done in that burial of the queen was orchestrated to establish supremacy, establish the oligarchy, establish rule over your mindset, free yourself from mental slavery. Sometimes, nowadays, I seem to understand why some of these philosophies that seem contrary to Christian religious belief. I understand why people like Robert Nesta Marley decided to wear dreadlocks, different from the conventional style, even though all those hairstyles, most of the hairstyles, Shoba, they are African hairstyles from Ethiopia, people like Emperor John and all that wore hairstyles like that. So, most times, I now realize why there are some people who are not Christians, they are not pastors, but deep philosophers deliberately decided to be different. I've never seen Wole Soyinka wear a suit, not a tie. He has his own hairstyle. Fela decided to be wearing only pants. I might not wear that, but they freed their minds. They freed their minds. We pastors, instead of helping Africans to free their minds, we keep imprisoning their minds more, even our presidents. That is something that the next generation must not allow to happen. It's true, I have children overseas, I want to go there to visit them. I want to go there to preach. But I'm not going there as a beggar. I'm going there as a celebrity to be treated with class. You know, I met a white guy in Spring in South Africa. I told him, my friend, I'm not a typical black man. I didn't come here with my hand lower than your own. I might be richer than you. And then he said, if it is so, you can preach in my church. And then when I finished preaching and great things happened, he said that there are some of your books I want to teach on marriage from. Please don't sell them in the church. This color is not a disadvantage. Being an African is not a disadvantage. All we need, self-development, national development, intellectual development, spiritual development, and then people will start to respect us. I don't think the Chinese prime minister or Xi Jinping or whatever, if he went to the UK, they would treat him casually. No. Biden came with they allowed him with his 6-car convoy and put all of you inside buses like school children. Why? Biden is important to the world. Biden is relevant to the world. All of you from Africa, you are not relevant. You are not significant. You are only important to us at home here because you intimidate us. It's a lesson. It's a legacy that we must not allow itself to repeat itself in the lifetime of our children. I'll tell you this and I'm done. I used to speak in a church, speak there severally. The day I'm to speak, the man would treat me very well and all that. There was a day, one of his birthdays, he wanted to celebrate his birthday and wanted to use the opportunity to raise funds. That day, I don't care where I sit really. That day, I found out that he tactfully, deliberately relegated me to the background, rendered me insignificant. And since then, I realized one thing. When people do not need you, at that moment, you are irrelevant. Don't struggle to be there. If you are not going to be a game changer in their lives, you are insignificant. Don't go there. Let the person who will be the game changer go there. Learn to know, number one, your importance, and you become important by creating value, by sharing value, by developing yourself, by improving on yourself, by letting people come to know what they can benefit from you by associating with you. Know that. Have something to give to humanity that humanity will attach value to. Number two, know when you are needed. Know where you are needed. Know how you are needed. You must not be there. You must not relate with some people at every time. Know it and choose where you go to. Then finally, try as much as possible to know when you are the game changer, when your presence matters, know when it does not matter. If you are not going to cause a significant presence, please stay away. Don't struggle to associate with people. Learn this. I try not to struggle to introduce myself to people. I did it and I was embarrassed. Since then, I have learned that people should introduce me to people and they should attach value to me. I don't struggle to be important in somebody's life. I don't struggle for somebody to know me. Now notice, the royal family in the UK, they have deliberately cultivated what you are seeing. It's an intentional thing. Remember, the queen's cousin is a crown prince in Greece, Pavlos, crown prince in Greece. Her husband was a prince of Greece. They select their relationships, their spouses, their friends carefully, intentionally, purposefully. Don't live anyhow. The lesson of the African presidents grinning inside that bus was very irritating to me. We're still slaves, we're still economic, military, and mental slaves to those who we think have granted us independence. Free your mind from mental slavery. I remain your friend, Dr. Charles Apoki.